looks terrible.
I look way smaller than you. Okay, this is good, right?
You are way smaller than me. I am kind of big.
So you and I were both in Asia, in
We
Korea,
were.
and Japan.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
It was hot, but not too hot.
Not too hot. Perfect.
That was good. That was good.
Yes.
In our home countries.
Yeah. Yes. I feel good in Asia.
Yeah, that was your first time in Korea, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you
Loved
think?
it. Loved it. I felt so good not understanding the language.
Really?
Even though like Asian people were everywhere.
Oh.
I love that. I liked how in Seoul you can go hiking like in the city. It's almost like LA or something. And I didn't know that at all. And the leaves were all beautiful, yellow, and it was warm.
So you like the nature rather than the city itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, the nature is beautiful.
Yeah. What about you? How did you like it?
Oh yeah, so like every year I go to the Busan Film Festival to start watching some films, selecting movies. So you get to see the first round if you want, because that's really when the programming year starts. So I saw some interesting movies, but to me the highlight was really a retrospective screening of a film called EUNUCH from 1968. That was kind of a discovery. I had never seen it.
Hey, New York City!
Watch the
EUNUCH.
Yeah, about a guy who gets castrated. He uses, it's painful. You don't get to see it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was really a discovery. I mean, it's a film from 1968. I thought it was surprisingly lurid in a good way. It was sort of, it was quite erotic, despite the title, and surprisingly lewd and lurid, again in a good way. Kind of like we've been talking about roman porno recently, right? So that kind of reminded me of that a little bit. I mean, it's very Korean. It's directed by a guy called Shin Sang-ok. Right, so he's one of the top filmmakers of his generation. Back in the 60s, he was a huge name. I mean, the interesting part about him was that he was abducted by the North Koreans. So that's the interesting bit. Kim Jong-il really liked his films and had him abducted, he and his wife, and it's actually the topic of a great documentary whose title now escapes me, but I guess come back to me later.
So how long was he in North Korea for?
He was there for several decades, actually, quite a long time. He went on to make quite a few films there. He remade some of his own movies as well. Actually, one interesting thing to do might be it would be interesting to see would be a retrospective of his North Korean films right now.
Wow, have you seen any of those?
I've seen one. I'm not going to explain how I got to see this.
Is it like total propaganda films, or are they like, subtle, like what?
Well, how could I put it? It isn't, but North Korean films have some specific formal elements. There are things you can't do. I mean, that in itself would be a topic of its own entirely.
But it's like a full feature?
Full feature. There's usually a lot of singing. A lot of these North Korean films have a lot of singing. Great leader.
It's just like break out.
Yeah, they break into songs. They're very much, a lot of these films are like musicals, but there's also a lot of different periods. Interestingly enough, Shin Sang-ok, when he escaped from North Korea at some point, went to the US and actually produced one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
How does that happen?
Simon Shin.
I don't know the details. So that was in the 80s?
Actually.
70s?
Must have been
89?
Yeah.
So not that long ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, the guy had quite a life.
Wow.
A very interesting life. No, I was just making stupid faces.